Hello, NBA fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly series here on the NBA, the week that was. Today will be the 21st episode of the series, and I have a guest with me to analyze the New York Knicks. Introduce yourself, Mikhail.
Hi, my name is Mikhail Kazmi. I'm a rising junior at Singapore American School. I've known Raghav since 6th grade, and I was here for the episode about the Bulls. Now, before we get into this episode, I'd like to say no, I'm not a bandwagon. I was born and raised in New York and lived there for 4 years. As I got into basketball, I started watching Derrick Rose, and which is why I support the Bulls as well.
Thanks for the clarification. I know he's not a bandwagon guy, so don't worry about that. So let's get right into it. What are your opinions on the Knicks this year? Wasn't a great year.
It's been kind of tough for us Knicks fans. It's kind of been hard to watch them, but I feel like they can redeem themselves this off season. I feel like they have the pieces to trade, or the trading value, and they have a pretty good draft pick. I feel like they should definitely draft Keelan Hayes, who is a player coming out of Europe, an 18-year-old, very young, 6'5" point guard with a lot of potential. And I feel like he'll match up really well with RJ and with Mitchell Robinson. I feel like those three will be a really good trio. And I feel like with their second round pick, either they can trade up to maybe in the first round, or they can just keep their pick and try and get another big man. But before that, yes, I understand that the Knicks do have a handful of big men who are getting extremely overpaid, and I feel like they should trade them for some other high-end players, whether it's younger big men or if it's veterans such as Blake Griffin. I feel like Blake Griffin doesn't necessarily fit that well with the Pistons right now, and I feel like the Pistons would accept a trade if we gave them the right pieces.
I agree. About Killian Hayes, I mean, they did take a risk, the Knicks, I felt, with Frank Ntilikina, and that didn't pay off. So that might be a reason that the front office is worried to go for another European point guard. But he does have the potential that we've seen in Europe. I've seen some footage of his. He's a really good I think he's a great scorer, honestly. And, you spoke about Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett, but I want to focus on Mitchell Robinson. I feel that was one of the highlights of your guys' season, his development from being a second-round pick to being a great center in this league. His presence on the defensive end is unmatched, given the blocks he can get and overall just the shots he, contests. And his rebounding has been great. So from a second-round pick, you got great value. RJ Barrett, I feel, while he was inefficient, he had his games. So you know that he has the potential to do what he did, like justify that first pick prospect that people saw coming out of high school.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Mitchell had a really good season and did not let us down. Where on the other hand, RJ, although he played subpar, I feel like it was still good enough for the Knicks, especially because we aren't really competing for the playoffs right now. We're just trying to develop our younger players. RJ, I feel like after maybe within the next season or the season after, I feel like he will properly develop into a high-level player, maybe even an all-star or an all-NBA player. But I think the main focus for the Knicks right now is to kind of make it to the playoffs and give us New York fans some hope. And for that, I feel like there are some other pieces that we need. So we do have an overload of bigs, and we have another overload of point guards as well. I feel like we should trade Elfrid Payton and maybe Dennis Smith Jr. as well. We kind of took a risk trading for him, and it hasn't paid us off that well. Although he is pretty athletic and is still pretty young, I feel like we need to surround our team with better players who can actually develop into high-caliber players. And if we trade those two guards for maybe a younger guard or to separate teams in a three-way trade, it will benefit us highly.
Definitely. One point I want to, so you did mention that the Knicks fans need some hope, and I feel that this offseason, you guys, everyone, including me, was expecting Kyrie, KD, Zion. None of that happened, and Kyrie, KD ended up in Brooklyn. So it has been rough goings for the Knicks, but I feel that there are some glimmers of hope, like you said before. Mitchell Robinson, RJ, they can develop, and you guys do have trade pieces who will fit well with other teams. I feel Peyton is a great is like a serviceable backup point guard for a team that needs, he does all around. he's not just a scorer, passer. He can rebound as well. He's had multiple triple doubles in his career. Dennis Smith Jr. still, I feel, has that potential based off his athleticism from the point guard position. And yeah, like he didn't fit well in New York, and I just don't think he ever will. So he's a good trade piece for you guys. I'm honestly still interested in to see in Frank Ntilikina what happens with him, because I mean he has a lot of potential, especially on the defensive end. I feel he's already, like as a Hawks fan, I watched him lock up Trae Young multiple times, which is not fun. But he's done that to other star point guards, so he has great defensive chops. But he definitely needs to work on his offensive game, which I feel they're gonna need a better front office and just coaching staff for that. But he definitely should stick around. Same. I don't know why you guys let go of Alonzo Trier. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was a tough day for me.
Yeah.
Alonzo Trier was a really, really good pickup. One of the best players who we could have picked up, especially in the circumstances with him being an undrafted player. Being that lucky to pick up somebody so talented with the ball, especially in isolation situations, he kind of made up for Frank's lack of offensive ability and kind of carried us. I think he was averaging like more than 14 points a game or around that, which was really good for us. And he was pretty much efficient, especially coming off the bench with restricted minutes or limited minutes. I feel like there was a very, very bad decision to trade him away.
Yeah, and I like
or to waive him.
The front office is something. I think that it starts from the front office. That's what needs to improve. Like, I don't see logic in signing for power forwards who are aging. Taj Gibson, Julius Randle, Bobby Portis, and Markieff or Marcus Morris. One of the Morris twins.
Oh, yeah, one of the
Yeah, and just I don't know. Julius Randle is decent, but I don't think he's a long-term fit. Same with Portis or Gibson's getting old. I just feel that all four of those are expendable. I feel they're really safe players who the Knicks should definitely hold on to. It used to be Alonzo Trier, but we saw what happened then. And then Mitchell Robinson and R.J. Barrett, and maybe Frank, but R.J. Barrett and Mitchell Robinson are two players I really feel the Knicks should hold on to.
I think we're forgetting one player, Kevin Knox.
Oh, yeah.
Who was drafted a few years ago. He, although many people slept on him, he actually performed. He had a pretty good performance in his seasons in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we also need to spend some time to develop him along with our young core. But I feel like in the future, with his long wingspan, his size, and his athleticism, he can be a key player to the Knicks' hopeful playoffs run.
Definitely. I feel that the Knicks need to just keep some of the pieces such as Knox, Barrett, Ntilikina, and Mitchell Robinson. Then hit on one or two more draft picks, such as get like Killian Hayes. Hopefully he develops into something, or just get another good player. And given the fact that it's New York, the mecca of basketball, as Madison Square Garden's called, it's easier to get free agents than it is to beat a small market team. So that's an advantage New York has. But again, as I said, it comes from the front office and the ownership. I don't think James Dolan is ever letting go of that team, so that's unfortunate for you guys. But if they can, get a good general manager, like a better coach than just a replacement level coach that they got for David Fizdale, if they can, get those, I think they'll be able to attract more free agents, given the fact that it's New York, which is why New York still always has a chance to, be that next great team.
Yeah, right now I feel like they have a lot of trading assets, like you said, handful of power forwards and a few guards who we don't necessarily need right now, but have some potential and will help in a trade. I feel like if we trade for some more younger players who many teams felt that they didn't meet up to their standards or expectations, I feel like if we pick them up, we can grow with this young core and maybe sign like an older player to kind of help lead the team. But I feel like right now, if everything was to go to plan, the starting lineup for next season should be Killian Hayes at the 1, RJ at the 2, Kevin Knox at the 3, Mitchell Robinson at the 5, and then somebody at the 4, who I'm not really too sure about. What do you think? Should the Knicks target somebody else?
I would want someone else for the Knicks if they want to succeed, but they've locked up Julius Randle on a pretty big contract, so he is here for a while, I feel. So Randle might stick around, but you never know. Like, are there any other prospects you like besides Killian Hayes for the Knicks?
Let's actually take a look at the NBA mock draft
Yeah.
right now.
What are they projected to have like the?
I think that they're in the top 5.
Yeah. This
On the mock draft, I believe they're at number 5 behind Atlanta.
Okay.
So I feel like, if they get a higher pick, then obviously I feel like they should go with either like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball. Even if they get James Wiseman or Obi Toppin, I feel like they can take those because those are definitely pickups who I feel personally will be able to succeed in the NBA. I feel like if they can pick up any of those, they should just try and make it work. Who do you think would be a good fit for the Knicks?
Wiseman. I think Wiseman, and if they get a higher pick, I feel that the best guy to end up in New York. I think Anthony Edwards and RJ Barrett will work. I think the best potential fit is LaMelo Ball, as we talked about in the Bulls episode. I feel that LaMelo Ball personality, the Ball family and all that stuff, that really fits well in New York. In the sense that, he gets the fame he wants, not with the ownership. I feel it has potential to go very wrong if Dolan and, LaMelo Ball can't really hit it off, because I feel Dolan wants to control everything with the Knicks. But LaMelo Ball, I think, is the best fit as that distributor and just the playmaker and the star for the future for the Knicks. I feel he has the most potential from the 2020 draft. And he would be the best fit for New York. But if they don't want to go forward to the point guard, they trust in, let's say, Frank Ntilikina to take the reins, which I don't think they will. But if they do, then they could look at Onyeka, Big O, as a power forward to replace Randall in the starting lineup. Have Randall off the bench, and have that would be a great front court for like the next 5 or 10 years, and Robinson and Big O. So yeah. Those are 2 players.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. LaMelo Ball, like we said in the last episode, most potential in the draft, one of the best players coming out of the 2020 draft. And I feel like if we get if we can maybe trade for a higher pick, I don't know how likely that is, but I feel like it's worth a shot to get a player like LaMelo Ball, who has always lived up to the expectations in high school after his brothers graduated, overseas in Australia and at Spire Academy. I feel like each time he's kind of exceeded our expectations, and I feel like in such a big environment and like in New York, one of the biggest places of basketball, I feel like he can definitely make an impact on the team in a positive way, and maybe even do something similar to Ja Morant or Luka and kind of bring the team in such a short time to the playoffs and kind of bring the spark that New York is missing.
Definitely. And you mentioned trading up. I feel teams honestly in the top 3 picks. So it's like the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, Warriors, Cavs. Those are the teams that and the Hawks could end up with the first 4 picks. I feel that the Warriors and the Hawks are both potential trade partners, especially Atlanta. I was thinking, because the Hawks definitely need wing defense around Trae Young. And Frank Ntilikina is a perfect fit for that. So if Atlanta has like the 3rd or 4th pick and you guys have like the 5th or 6th pick, I feel if Atlanta are going for the safer pick, such as Isaac Okoro, he won't go as high. So we can, trade down and get that piece, and you guys can get that pick that you want to eventually end up with a guy like LaMelo or Big O, because I think those are 2 players that could potentially go in the top 3.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's a really strong point, right? Yeah. They have the ability. They have the players to trade. As long as the front office doesn't mess it up, I feel like it could go really good for Knicks fans. But definitely. I'm not going to get my hope up just yet.
Yeah. So, and any final words? We'll end it here.
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on. Let's get 100 likes on this video and continue the series.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.